Yo, what's up, my dudes? It's Sai here, and welcome back to another installment of Tiered Up, the place where we rank things from my least favorite to my best favorite, or most favorite. Yeah, that makes sense. Grammar. Last time we went ahead and ranked all the mythical Pokemon, but today this list is gonna be a little bit more challenging because we are ranking every single Pokemon game up to Generation 7, so including Let's Go. So I'm very excited to rank this because, again, I have no opinion of Sword and Shield at the moment, so I obviously can't rank it if I don't know it. And this list is subject to change. So I'm ranking the Pokemon games based on, 1, if I liked it or not, 2, overall the presentation, the story of it, and 3, the overall themes and the Pokemon that are in the game, the availability of the Pokemon in the game. So those are my main criteria factors, and I may, elaborate on that as we go. Quick thing to note as well, I will tend to, this is just a disclaimer, remakes and enhanced versions will tend to rank higher on this list just because of the fact that it is an enhancement of a previous game, so I like things that are enhanced and better and improved from the previous game, so just a disclaimer, that's a thing. But yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So I think the best Pokemon games of all time are Pokemon Black and White 2, if I can find those, and Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. And the reason why these two games, or these series of games specifically, in my personal opinion, are the best out of all of them, is because Black and White 2 expanded on what Black and White had. It was a direct sequel to the game. There were new gym leaders in the mix. There was a wider selection of Pokemon that were available. Team Plasma's goal actually kind of made a bit sense. Instead of the whole PETA angle, they decided to go full Pirate, which was a very smart move for the evolution of Team Plasma, which I liked. The Kyurem forms are cool little mascots, like Black Kyurem and White Kyurem. They're powerful and they're massive and they're expands on Kyurem's lore, which I like. And overall, I just thought Black and White 2 was a more linear and direct experience that I enjoyed compared to Black and White. Even though Black and White was very linear in what it was, I felt like Black and White 2 was definitely more streamlined, and it had more stuff to do in the game that felt relevant to the story, in my opinion. The only Achilles heel of that was Pokestar Studios. That is the only thing I do not like about Black and White 2. That is the only thing that I dislike about it, just because of the fact that you're forced into it. Unlike other side games, side things you can do in the Pokemon series, that's the only thing. You're forced to do a Pokemon movie thing or whatever, which I don't like. But other than that, though, it's great. I love Black and White 2. Everything about Black and White 2, except for Pokestar Studios, is great. And that's another thing too, is we're gonna be going over the games, and even if the game is an S tier, for instance, I'm still gonna have some gripes and overall mishaps with the game. So don't think everything is absolutely perfect just because it's an S tier. It's just my personally favorite games. So that's me. After Black and White 2 is Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. If you guys do not know, I'm a Gen 3er. My first game was Pokemon Sapphire. That was actually my first video game on my Game Boy. It was Pokemon Sapphire. And I played it, and I loved it. And then Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire came out, and I was like, yo, this game is literally the enhanced Pokemon Sapphire that I love. It is legit a great game. I love Ruby and Sapphire to the day I die. I love Gen 3 to the day I die, and the fact that Oris has primal versions and expand on the Mega Evolution lore. There's more Pokemon you can get in the game, especially from Generation 4 and later gens. I think that's really cool. So the fact that they added all that in is it's awesome. And again, my gripe with Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, I know a lot of people don't like the water in the game, but at the same time though, I felt like it was a cool way to do something different with the Pokemon series, because a lot of times, you're going on land on Pokemon, and you're going from one state to another, like that. But I felt like in Oris, it very much reminded me of, again, the original Sapphire, but also with Wind Waker and Phantom Hourglass, because in those games, you actually had a boat, and you travel along to each of the different islands and see where everything is coming across. So I personally like the fact that you travel on the water, and they made it easier in this game to surf and all that, which was great, because surfing in Ruby and Sapphire and Emerald, not gonna lie, wasn't the best, but you know what? That was my only shortcoming with it, but this game doesn't just try to improve on it, so I enjoyed that. Again, Omega Ruby Sapphire, definitely one of my tops of all time. I freaking love it. Next up on my list is going to be Pokemon Platinum, and Ultra Sun, and Ultra Moon. And Platinum is up here on this list because I felt like Diamond and Pearl as a whole I don't know. I felt like Diamond and Pearl was a good series of games, but there was a lot of things that were lacking from Diamond and Pearl that I didn't like. One, there were not that many fire types in the game. Looking at you, Bronzong, I freaking hate you. There were not that many fire types in the game, which was a real detriment. I felt like a lot of the trainers had a lot of repeated Pokemon, or if the trainers, like, for example, Flint was a fire type Elite Four member, and because of the fact there weren't that many fire types in the game, he only had 2 fire types, and then the rest of his mons, he had like a Steelix and a Lopunny and a Drifblim. Like, the heck? And then also, on top of that, Diamond and Pearl felt very slow, and Platinum fixed that. Platinum made the game a little bit quicker, and made the game definitely more enjoyable for me. And also, the Distortion World was also a really cool addition, so I was like, yo, Distortion World. I like that. Pokemon Platinum. Great set of games. Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon is also an A tier, because I felt like this was supposed to be the epitome of a Gen 7 game. Like Platinum, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon went ahead and streamlined the game to make it quicker, because Sun and Moon felt very slow, in my opinion. The trials were better, in my opinion. They were a lot better. The trial Pokemon were definitely more of a challenge than they were in USUM, which, in original Sun and Moon, which I appreciated. Ultra Necrozma was a really cool addition to the game. I like that a lot. It's like there's the expansion of the Z Crystal lore, and how Necrozma is using his light powers, and the whole plot of the game was great. And Lucamine's goal, like, the only thing I did not understand about Yusum was Lucamine's goals, because I felt like in Sun and Moon, her goals were a little bit made more sense, because she felt corrupted by the Ultra Beast, but in Yusum, her goal is to try to catch Necrozma, because she has vanity towards Necrozma, and wants to go through it. I don't know. Lucamine doesn't make any sense in Yusum, in my opinion, but, yeah, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon is definitely a better Gen 7. I really like Gen 7 as a gen, and Gen 7 and a Gen 4 game, it's like, cool. I love it. It's awesome. Yay. Next up on the list, I'm gonna go ahead and put Heart Gold, Soul Silver in B tier. I'm also gonna go ahead and put Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Actually, no, I'll save Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee for later. I'm gonna put Heart Gold, Soul Silver. I'm gonna put X and Y. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put the original Emerald. Well, yeah, of course the original Emerald version makes sense. So yeah, Heart Gold, Soul Silver. I'm gonna know it's gonna shock a lot of you. Like, why is Heart Gold, Soul Silver in B tier for you? The reason why Heart Gold, Soul Silver is in B tier is because, like, compared to other Pokemon games, like, I liked Heart Gold, Soul Silver. I didn't hate it. It's just that, for me personally, like, the Johto region as a whole, I felt like it's, like, I didn't really connect to it as the other regions did, because, again, like, I was raised on Gen 3, and so the games after I played were Gen 3 were Generation 1, and then Gen 4, and then I finally played Gen 2 in, like, 2010. So that was the last generation that I played out of those original 4 before I went linear and did Generation 5, then Gen 6, and then Gen 7, and now Gen 8. So, yeah, out of all of them, and I liked Heart Gold, Soul Silver because of the Pokewalker as well. Pokewalker was cool. There was enhanced graphics. This game definitely felt the most polished out of all the Generation 4 games, which was Diamond and Pearl, Platinum, Heart Gold, Soul Silver. This was the last one. So, it expanded on that. And there was also some really cool, yeah, again, this was the most expanded game, because, again, there were 16 gyms that you could take on. There is a great post-game and everything. And I'm like, yo, Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Great series of games. I like them. Even though Johto's not my favorite region, it's, out of any means, it's still pretty good, so I like that. Pokemon X and Y. The reason why they're in B tier, not lower, is because I like the fact that with X and Y, we got our very first 3D Pokemon game, and there is a lot about X and Y that is enjoyable. They're like, the story is pretty okay. The Pokemon selection was massive. Lumio City was one of my favorite locations in the game, along with, the gym designs. That's the one thing I love about X and Y. The gym designs in X and Y, because they were able to go 3D, they were spectacular. Like, I don't care if people think the gym leaders were irrelevant in this game, because to the most part they were. The gym designs were fantastic. Just everything about, like, the scenery and everything about it. That's one reason I liked X and Y a lot, was because of just the overall graphical overhaul of the game. It was just fantastic. But the only thing I have to complain about with X and Y is that, again, the story wasn't as fantastic as I would have liked it. There were a lot of rumors saying that X and Y was rushed, and I do agree with that, because of the fact that they had to meet a worldwide release date, which they had never done, which Game Freak has never done before. So I completely understand that. But yeah, X and Y overall, great series of games. I just felt like there should have been another version to enhance X and Y, like Pokemon Z. Why Game Freak didn't do that? No idea. But oh well, that's a topic for another day. Pokemon Emerald is in B tier because it was the first enhanced version of Ruby and Sapphire, and I felt like Emerald's storyline made sense because Team Aqua and Team Magma, you would fight both of them in the storyline, and then both of them would fight, and then Rayquaza would come in. That's one reason I like Emerald a lot, just because the storyline makes sense. I feel like the storyline for Gen 3 makes the most sense in either Emerald or Alpha Sapphire and Sapphire, and that's it. I feel like the Pokemon Ruby's storyline, in my opinion, didn't really make a lot of sense. I always felt like Sapphire made sense because of the whole water mechanic. They want to flood the world. Why are they trying to get rid of the oceans? It's like, okay, there's gonna be more water anyways. I don't know, but Emerald's storyline was nice and cohesive, and I like that. Only gripe about Emerald is that Wallace is the champion. Why Wallace is the champion? No idea. Wallace does not need to be a champion. Steven is my champion of all the Gen 3 games. Why is he a thing? So, oh yeah, that's another gripe about Black and White too. Iris is the champion in that game. Why is Iris the champion? No idea. Alder should have been the champion in those games. That's a conversation for another day. So yeah, next up on the list, I'm gonna go ahead and put Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee on top. I'm also gonna go ahead and put Diamond and Pearl. Diamond and Pearl, Sun and Moon. I would say that. And then after that, Black and White. So, the reason why these sets of games are in C tier for me, and I'm going to be rearranging them later as well. Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee is in C tier because I felt like compared to other versions, it was the most enhanced version of the Kanto series games, which is nice. But because of the fact that Kanto is really dry, at some points, like, the thing, well, hold on. What I mean by dry is the dry but the story. The Kanto storyline is so basic, and I wish they could have, like, upped the ante in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee instead of making it more like a direct remake of Yellow, and I wasn't the biggest fan of that. I really wish that they made, like, a more original story in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, instead of, like, substituting out details. And I know technically they did do that, like, Gary is not your rival in this game. He's a separate trainer. I understand that, but that's, like, they're, like, very slight story changes. Other than that, it was a complete, like, carbon copy of the previous games. And I understand that's supposed to be for a remake, but I wish there was more original story, and that's why it's kind of low on my list, because, yeah, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. It's got great graphics, that's why it's up there, but overall, it's alright. It's not great, but it's alright. Diamond and Pearl is in C tier because I felt like they were okay games, but again, as I said before, and when I was talking about Platinum, the lack of fire types was a big detriment in the game, as well as the game was slow, and there wasn't, yeah. I just felt like the game kind of just dragged for certain bits of it, which, but yeah, Platinum kind of expanded on that and made it a bit more streamlined, so that's why Diamond and Pearl is up there. Sun and Moon is C tier because of the fact that while it did have good graphics and it was our first Gen 7 game, again, my same complaints with Diamond and Pearl. It's very slow, and there's a lot of tutorial. Like, if you love tutorial, Sun and Moon is your game, because there is so much tutorial in the game, and you really don't get, like, a chance to breathe until about, like, when I played Sun and Moon, I think it was like an hour and a half, 2 hours after, was that I finally got to explore the game. There's a lot of hand-holding in Sun and Moon, which wasn't a big fan of. But overall, though, I did feel like Sun and Moon was a good successor to the Pokemon games. It tied up Zygarde's storyline, at least, because X and Y didn't do that. So, yeah, that's why Sun and Moon's up there. There's just a lot of hand-holding in the game, and I wasn't a big fan of that, so, nah. But yeah, Black and White, as the final tier, Pokemon list in C tier, and the reason why it is in C tier and not like in B or in D or whatever is because Black and White were just average games. They're very average games for me. They had your classic Pokemon plot. I know a lot of people don't like Black and White because of the fact that you couldn't get other Pokemon until after you beat the Elite Four and the Elite Four, and I was going to say Champion, but Ghetsis. Once you beat Ghetsis in the post game. That's another thing. I wish you got to fight the champion in the main story, but you fight the champion in post-game, and it's like, okay, that's cool. Like, Alder, like, I love Alder a lot more as a champion than Iris. I just wish Alder was the champion in the storyline, and then you fought Alder, and then after that you fought Ghetsis, and then N and all that, so I would have liked to see that, but, overall, though, I liked Black and White. It's not the greatest of the Unova games, because I still like Black and White 2 more, but, for what it was, like, Black and White. Good experience. I liked it. So yeah, in D tier, I'm gonna basically put all the rest of the games. I'm gonna put every single rest of the games, because I don't think a Pokemon game sucks overall. I really don't. So yeah, we're gonna talk about Sapphire first. This is gonna be the first tier list where I don't put anything in F tier, because I don't think any Pokemon game sucks. I think every Pokemon game has some value to it. It's just that, and, like, the whole lineup of Pokemon, I don't ever consider there's no bad Pokemon game as a core series. Everything has something good about it. But, Ruby and Sapphire. Again, these were my first games, but they're so low on my list because of the fact that I felt like with Ruby and Sapphire, there wasn't, I mean, there was scope in the game, but at the same time, though, I felt like with Ruby and Sapphire, I felt very disconnected from other games because they didn't mention anything from from the previous Generation 1 and Generation 2 games. We did get evolutions in this game. We got pre-evos to old Pokemon. But again, I felt like this pair was very lopsided because I felt like Sapphire's story made more sense than Ruby's story. Because of Team Aqua's goals being much more realistic than Team Magma. It's like, you expand the land and cut off the ocean, but it's like other water-type Pokemon, like, they can easily evolve and adapt to lake environments, you know? If they're gonna dry up the oceans, it's like all those water Pokemon can just go in the lakes. It makes no sense. While Sapphire's version makes more sense, because it's like, if you're drowning the whole Earth, which don't do, then all the land Pokemon, it would take longer for them to adapt, because it's like, how are land Pokemon going to be able to get gills and all that stuff like that? It's weird. But, yeah, I just felt like Ruby and Sapphire was very lopsided in terms of the pairs. But I still enjoyed the games. Again, it's my, they were my original Pokemon games, but they're lower on the list because, yeah, that's the thing. Crystal is up there next, because what I liked about Crystal is that, it was an enhancement from Gold and Silver, which, in my opinion, those are my least favorite games, and I'll go more about that in a bit. But, I liked Crystal a lot because it was an enhancement. You could play as a female character for the first time, which is really cool. I just felt like the one thing about Crystal I didn't like, I wish that Suicune wasn't the game mascot. I really wish. I think that if you had, I really wish there was another, like, a third legendary to that Lugia Ho-Oh theme there, because I was like, having a Pokemon game centered around Suicune and making Suicune better than Raikou and Entei wasn't the smartest idea in play, in my opinion, just because, yeah, Suicune's cool, but it's like, Raikou and Entei, it's like you're sidelining those two Pokemon favoring of one of another one. And plus, on top of that, like, Suicune is only connected to Ho-Oh and not connected to Lugia, but... also, Yucine was, he was there, but Yucine gets more expansion in Heart Gold Soul Silver, so I'll give him that. But yeah, and Crystal, overall, I just felt like it was just better graphics, better things. So, Crystal's just an enhancement on Gold and Silver. I like that. Fire Red Leaf Green is in D tier because it was an enhancement from the original Red and Blue, which I appreciated. There was some new features that came from Yellow too, which was in the games, which I liked. And I guess I can touch about this whole. The reason why Fire Red Leaf Green, Ruby and Fire Red Leaf Green, Red and Blue, and Yellow are kind of all in D tier is because yes, while they are the original games and people will always cherish them, for me it's like, there's not many Pokemon to get in the game, and I understand that because it's Gen 1, it's the original. There's not a whole lot you can do with it. But the story wasn't the greatest. And it gets better in future games. But, like, I felt like they were just kind of minimal, and they were there. And it's like, oh, the joys of catching all 151 Pokemon. That's really cool. But I did feel like it just kind of felt like kind of dry at the moment, and it kind of sucked for me. But... I know people do like Red and Blue, and they're like, oh my god, like, Red and Blue's the best game ever. I love it, best Pokemon game ever. Like, screw every other gen. But for me personally, it's like, if there's not much story to go off of, and it's just catching all Pokemon, it's like, what's the other points in the game? I just wish there was more in Gen 1. That way, I could rank them a little bit higher on my list, because I felt like, and still to this day, I feel like Gen 1 as a gen didn't really have much to do in it. The reason why I do like Fire Leaf Green a lot is because they did add the Seavai Islands, and there was more features to explore in those games, which I liked about Fire Leaf Green. But at the same time, though, Let's Go Pikachu, like, the reason why Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee is up above is because there's better graphics for Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and it's a different style of gameplay compared to Fire Leaf Green. So I was like, that's fine. And then Gold and Silver is last on my list because, again, out of all of the original games, like, I played Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I never played, like, I think I remember playing the original Silver, like, once, and that's it. But, like, Gen 2, like, Heart Gold Soul Silver was my first full introduction in Gen 2, and I felt like Heart Gold Soul Silver overall was a complete overhaul from the original Gold and Silver, because I felt like the original Gold and Silver back in the day felt more like a DLC version, like a DLC to what Red and Blue and Yellow was. I felt like Gold and Silver really didn't up the ante in those games. I felt like Heart Gold Soul Silver made Johto its own separate identity compared to just being DLC for Red and Blue. Which I felt like that's what Gold and Silver was. And I know a lot of people, I'm gonna get a lot of flack for that in the comments, but again, I just felt like Gold and Silver overall, again, another thing, the Johto section felt very rushed in Gold and Silver. Like, you go very quickly from in those games, and it was like, okay, what else is there to do? And then also as well, I mean, I don't know, that's just, I felt like Gold and Silver just didn't, like, as a standalone, like, the only reason why Gold and Silver was so popular back in the day was because they added Kanto in as, like, the ultimate post-game. But I felt like without that, it's like, even if you decide even not to add Kanto in there, it's like, what else is there to do in Johto, you know? So, that's my main thing about it. So, let me know what your guys' favorite Pokemon games are in the comments section. I would really be curious to know. You guys can debate with me all day, every day about this list. Yeah, until Sword and Shield comes out and changes my opinion slightly, this is going to be basically a list. And for me personally, there will be no Pokemon games in F tier, because I think all of the games have something good that they contributed and something great that everything happened. So, yeah, again, let me know down below in the comments, and I will try to explain my rationale more in the comment section if people go at me in the comments. I'm ready. Bring it on. Bring it on, Gen 2ers, because I know you guys are on me next. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button down below, subscribe for more Tiered Up, and yeah, I will see you guys all next time. So peace out, friends. Bye-bye.